The world holds its breath. In every corner of the globe, anticipation hangs heavy in the air, as if the planet itself is pausing, waiting for a sign of what comes next. The world holds its breath. Streets are quieter than usual and people gather in homes, cafes, and public squares, eyes fixed on screens, hearts pounding with uncertainty. The world holds its breath. Newsrooms buzz with urgency, and families from New York to Nairobi watch events unfold, knowing history is being written in real time. It's September 2025. Global news networks broadcast two extraordinary summits, the G7, convening in a grand European castle steeped in centuries of tradition, and the expanded BRICS, gathering in a gleaming, futuristic Asian convention center that symbolizes rapid change. The G7 leaders, icons of established order, debate how to defend democratic values, safeguard global security, and confront the escalating climate crisis. Their conversations echo the priorities that have shaped the world for decades. Their setting radiates stability and the weight of history. The castle's stone walls and gilded halls remind all present of the legacy and continuity these nations represent. Meanwhile, BRICS leaders stride forward with confidence, embodying the ambition and energy of emerging powers. They represent a rising tide, eager to redefine the global balance. Their agenda is bold: to create new financial systems, establish alternative trade routes, and amplify the voice of the global South. They seek to rewrite the rules of international engagement. They're not just seeking a seat at the table, they're building a new one, inviting others to join in shaping a different future. This isn't just a contrast in scenery, it's a clash of visions for the future. The old and the new, tradition and transformation face off on the world stage. The G7 aims to preserve and adapt the system that brought them prosperity, believing that stability and gradual reform are the keys to peace. BRICS wants to reshape it, arguing the old order is outdated and imbalanced, and that new voices must be heard for true global progress. The G7 sees itself as the guardian of a rules-based order, committed to ensuring peace, progress, and the values that have underpinned the modern era. BRICS, representing much of the world's population and the engine of economic growth, believes current institutions are tilted in favor of the West, leaving billions underrepresented. Their goal, a multipolar world where power and opportunity are more evenly distributed and every nation has a voice in shaping the future. This tension, preservation versus transformation, defines today's geopolitics. It's a contest not just of policies but of dreams and destinies. The outcome will shape billions of lives for generations to come. Two summits, two futures, and a world on the edge of profound change. The world watches, waiting to see which vision will prevail, and what kind of world will emerge from this pivotal moment in history. Who are these two powerful groups that seem to shape the headlines and influence the direction of the world? Let's break down what the G7 and BRICS really are, and why they matter so much in today's global landscape. The G7 is an exclusive club of some of the world's most advanced economies: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, the United States, and the European Union. These nations are not just economic powerhouses, they also share a common commitment to liberal democracy and open markets. Formed in the 1970s, the G7 emerged in response to global economic crises, aiming to coordinate policies and stabilize the world economy. Over the decades, they've worked together on issues ranging from financial regulation to climate change, always operating on shared values: democracy, free markets, and the rule of law. Their influence has been instrumental in shaping major international institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, which set the rules for global finance and development. The G7 acts as a kind of steering committee for the global economy, leveraging their immense collective wealth and tight political alliances to set the agenda for the rest of the world. On the other side, we have BRICS, a group that began with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These are large, rapidly developing economies that felt underrepresented in the existing world order and wanted a bigger say in global affairs. BRICS is a flexible partnership, not a formal alliance. Its members are united by the desire to amplify the voice of the developing world and to challenge the dominance of Western-led institutions. In 2024, BRICS expanded dramatically, welcoming Saudi Arabia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Ethiopia. This expansion made the group more diverse, more influential, and more representative of the global South. Now called BRICS+, the group includes both democracies and autocracies, but all its members share a common goal: to create a multipolar world where power is more evenly distributed, not dominated by the West. To achieve this, they're building their own institutions, like the New Development Bank, which offers an alternative to the Western-led financial system and supports development projects in member countries. The G7 and BRICS now represent two very different visions for global leadership. One rooted in the old order, the other pushing for new rules and greater inclusivity. One group seeks to maintain the status quo and uphold the systems they built, the other is determined to rewrite the rules and shift the balance of power. Their rivalry is not just a political contest, it's a struggle that is actively reshaping the world's balance of power, affecting everything from trade and technology to security and climate action. The stakes couldn't be higher, as the choices these groups make today will define the future of international relations for decades to come. When we place them side by side, the differences between these global giants become starkly apparent, especially when it comes to population dynamics. The G7, a group of the world's most advanced economies, represents just 10% of the global population. These nations are characterized by aging populations and slow demographic growth, which poses unique challenges. Their power, however, is not derived from sheer numbers. Instead, it comes from their immense wealth, cutting-edge technology, and significant global influence. On the other hand, BRICS Plus now represents nearly half of humanity, with populous nations like India and China leading the charge. This massive population serves as a vast reservoir of labor, a burgeoning consumer base, and a driving force for economic momentum and innovation. While BRICS nations face significant challenges such as poverty and inequality, their sheer scale and potential give them considerable global sway and influence. Economically, the G7 still holds the lead in terms of nominal GDP, boasting a combined total of about $46 trillion. However, when measured by purchasing power parity, BRICS Plus has already surpassed the G7, marking a significant shift in economic power. China stands as the world's largest economy by PPP, and BRICS nations collectively control vast reserves of natural resources, from minerals to energy. The G7's strength lies in its financial systems and technological advancements, while BRICS' power is rooted in its numbers and abundant resources. The economic balance of power is shifting rapidly with implications for global markets and international relations. The future of the world may very well depend on how these giants choose to compete and cooperate. The stakes are undeniably global, affecting every corner of the planet. The G7 and BRICS aren't just economic rivals, they have fundamentally different financial philosophies. The G7 champions free market capitalism, with the World Bank and IMF at its core. These institutions, controlled by G7 voting power, lend to developing countries, but with strict conditions. Critics say this system perpetuates Western dominance and dependency. The US dollar's dominance gives the G7 enormous leverage, including the power to impose sanctions. BRICS is building a parallel system. The new development bank offers loans with fewer strings and in local currencies. Their push for de-dollarization is accelerating, especially with new oil-rich members. More trade in local currencies could challenge the dollar's supremacy. If successful, this would reduce G7 leverage and reshape global finance. The financial order is at a crossroads. The world is watching which model will prevail. The G7 and BRICS rivalry is about more than money, it's a clash of worldviews. The G7 defends a rules-based order democracy, free trade, and human rights. They see themselves as guardians of global stability, adapting the system but not replacing it. Their alliances, like NATO, project these values worldwide. BRICS envisions a multipolar world where power is shared and national sovereignty respected. Their members range from democracies to autocracies, united by non-interference. Many in the global south see the G7's order as selectively applied. BRICS promises countries the freedom to choose their own path. China's Belt and Road Initiative exemplifies this vision: development without political strings. Two blueprints for the 21st century are in competition. The outcome will define the global order. The G7 and BRICS aren't locked in constant conflict, it's a dance of rivalry and reluctant cooperation. Economically, they compete for resources, markets, and tech supremacy. The G7 is de-risking supply chains, while BRICS builds its own networks. Geopolitically, they often back opposing sides, like in Ukraine, where the G7 sanctions Russia and BRICS calls for negotiation. Yet, on global challenges, climate change, pandemics, nuclear threats, they must cooperate. Both signed the Paris Agreement but disagree on who should pay for climate action. COVID-19 showed the need for global cooperation even amid tension. Shared threats force them to work together, but growing rivalry makes this fragile. The world's future depends on whether competition or cooperation wins out. Real-world events reveal the rivalry's intensity. At the 2023 G7 summit, leaders focused on confronting Russia and countering China, inviting India and Brazil to sway them from BRICS. The BRICS summit in South Africa responded by expanding membership, boosting economic and energy influence. Their declaration reform global finance, promote multipolarity, and use local currencies in trade. The tech war is another flashpoint. US export controls on semiconductors, China's push for tech independence. This forces other countries to pick sides. The competition extends to Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. The G7 offers infrastructure deals as alternatives to China's Belt and Road, promising higher standards. But China's decade-long head start has built deep ties. This is a modern great power struggle shaping the world's future. This global rivalry isn't abstract, it affects your daily life. Trade wars and fragmented supply chains can raise prices and slow economic growth. The tech war could make electronics pricier and split the internet into rival blocs. Energy prices are at stake. BRICS' new oil members can sway global markets, impacting what you pay at the pump. A shift away from the dollar could shake financial stability, affecting savings and investments. Competing tech standards may change how you access information and digital services. Security is also on the line. Regional conflicts risk becoming proxy wars. Yet a multipolar world could open new diplomatic opportunities. Whether this rivalry brings chaos or balance will shape your future. The stakes are personal, not just political. Who will rule the world next? Likely neither G7 nor BRICS alone. We're entering a contested multipolar era. The G7's dominance is fading, but their wealth, military and technology remain formidable. BRICS represents the future in population and economic growth but faces internal divisions. Bloc-to-bloc competition could fracture the world, higher barriers, tech divides, and more tension. Smaller countries may be forced to choose sides, losing autonomy. A better future is possible: managed competition where both blocs cooperate on existential threats. This would require reforming global institutions to give emerging powers a real voice. It demands compromise and diplomatic skill. The world stands at a turning point. The choices made now by these two groups will shape the global order. The future is uncertain, but it's being written today. The world is watching.